If we have to make a change in the way we view this subject of education, I still believe that the family must play the center part to this whole thing. Because the way young people are being taken from the family level to education system, the first people who advise them about how to view the world are the families. Hello family and friends, welcome back to Try Africa podcast, where we dive deep into the hearts of developing nations and their journey towards prosperity. I'm your host Zablon Mogona, and today episode I want to talk about education, majorly Africa and its relation into the other developing nations. Let's talk about India, the Asian continent, and all this. First of all, let me just start with how education is being perceived in Africa. Till these days, we still utilize as one of the resources that every human beings in the homestead, in the urban areas, that require to get this thing called education. But we are falling short. Though we inspire as African continent to be all those miles ahead, we still have gaps. And there are so many, if I have just to state, not only the ability of us providing enough infrastructure for different population to get into, but also some social problems. Let's talk about insecurity. Let's talk about the ability of some community viewing it as an element of only men and not the whole population. There are still families that don't believe women need to get proper education. It's just part and parcel of some of the elements. But in comparison of this one to the nations that they're trying, they are being considered as third developing nations. India, China, they have moved forward. And if we have to categorically look at the difference on these systems, the system that most African nations are using is much different from what like India is doing. Back in Africa, we are based on how we can memorize content and duplicate it during exams. We end up manufacturing workers and not thinkers. But it is pure different from our counterparts in Asia, India and China, where they have now realized, not now, but in the previous decades, that it's not a matter of how good someone memorizes text theories, but how practically are we solving our issues through education. And this moves us towards to this thing of, as an African continent, are we ready, or have we reached a point where we understand the need and the purpose of the education system that we have? One of the members that are in education sector, in this system or in this education system, I have the privilege of experiencing two different places, two different curriculum. And I've realized that we need to refocus and re-engineer our education system back in Africa. It's like the way forward towards education. But let me just pinpoint the advantage of the counterpart developing nations that are in India and China. These people, apart from them having the proper infrastructure, they have also moved forward to incorporate problem-solving education systems. How does that mean? Whenever a person gets into an education system, maybe in India or China, these people, they are looking for solution within their environments. A property that we have not even tried to achieve, because we are far behind, even not at the sector of providing infrastructure. We are still staggering behind. But our counterparts, they have moved that. They now have facilities, enough facilities in that matter. Institutions in these places are too robust, more accessible to majority of the population, unlike back in Africa. So what should we take from this simple bit as far as infrastructure is concerned? Yes, it is high time not only focusing on the infrastructure development, but we create this base where we are saying, let the education system solve a problem that we have. Because in all this dimension, as far as education is concerned, we are trying to look on ways to solve our own problems as people. So if we have to be realistic about our education system, are we truly as Africans believing that it's high time that we solve our own problems? I believe that our education system should have that element, that we are problem-solving oriented approach, instead of just taking these theories and move forward. The third element that I wish we should add as the continent, why don't we have an approach and a cumulative, a robust way of enhancing our population to our system? Let's make sure that the 1.2 billion people, and the majority of it being youth, are very, they can easily access education facilities. Let's reach a point where we are saying we have too many people who are accessing this few infrastructure, rather than having few people going to the few infrastructure and leaving majority outside the education system. Because we don't know, but the majority we are, the diverse the talents we have, the diverse ability we can acquire from this education system. So let's come with procedures and policies where most individuals, most students, and the education facilities get more people into the system. The fourth element, I think, is direction. There is this element where we don't know the reason why majority of the population back in Africa are not going to the education system. Not because the education system are not there, not that they don't understand the importance of the education system, but there is also an element of the environment. My dad did not go to school, my mom did not go to school, and they are surviving. This fallacy has created big issues. It has also created the element of people viewing education as just an imposter to their lives. We are viewing it as an obstacle to our existence, reducing our numbers into the system. So in the fourth element, I think we need to capture that one and show people that even though this thing looks like a threat, it is also the way forward. And finally, in the approaches and frameworks that we need to incorporate into our education system, I want to talk about the girl-child responsibility. We have to make a change in the way we view this subject of education. I still believe that the family must play the center part to this whole thing. Because the way young people are being taken from the family level to education system, the first people who advise them about how to view the world are the families. So even if the female and motherhood element is there, the family need to change. We need to transform our families to embrace the change. And the change and the transformation, I can still assure you, the advantage of someone getting education is not directly to get a source of income. It's not directly to become the person who is now literate to levels. No, it is also part and parcel of a process. You can as well go and get all the kinds of education system in the world. You can get the best also in Africa or even in Asia. But sometimes it's a process. Don't view a person who went to the education system and failed as as the whole generation who are going for education will also fail. No, it's also a process. Believe me, you can go all this dimension and still fail. You can still read the best books you can and still you can fail. So, as Africans, let's embrace the change to education and as well understand it's a whole process. Sometimes it has brought people to fail, but the majority have succeeded. Our choice is to choose where the majority predicts. I think family and friends, it was part and parcel to enlighten the majority of the people back home that we still require the element of education in order to transform our societies. Wherever you are, wherever you do, make sure you adjust accordingly, because education is here. If you not embrace the change to education, it will continue and will continue without you. My question to you is, can you survive without it? I don't believe. Till next time, I'm out.